Imagine a world where the very laws designed to protect our planet are turned into weapons against clean energy. Sounds like a plot twist from a political thriller, right? But here we are, witnessing a real-life showdown where environmental regulations are being weaponized to stifle solar and wind projects. And this is the part most people miss. The tactics being used aren't just about policy, they're a calculated legal ambush. Let's unpack how the Trump-era Interior Department is flipping the script on environmentalism, and why experts are calling it a masterclass in regulatory sabotage. The U.S. Department of the Interior (DOI) has long been the catch-all agency for everything from managing national parks to overseeing tribal affairs. But under Secretary Doug Burgum, it's become the front line in a broader ideological war. Starting in July 2025, a flurry of actions began to reshape the energy landscape. Wind and solar projects suddenly faced a new hurdle, an elevated review process requiring direct approval from Burgum's office. Then came the bombshell, a mandate to phase out unreliable foreign-controlled energy sources, a vague but chilling label applied to renewables. By August, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management had erased all offshore wind energy zones, and the DOI introduced a controversial metric called capacity density to evaluate projects. The message was clear. Renewables would be judged by how much energy they could squeeze from every square acre of federal land, regardless of context. But here's where it gets controversial. Critics argue this metric is a Trojan horse. Wind turbines occupy a tiny footprint, leaving surrounding land usable for farming or recreation. Solar panels can be installed on abandoned industrial sites or dual-use agricultural fields. Decommissioning a wind farm means removing towers and restoring the land, often within a year. Contrast that with oil refineries, which leave behind toxic soil and long-term health risks. Yet the DOI's focus on capacity density ignores these nuances, creating a skewed playing field. As Eric Schlenker-Goodrich of the Western Environmental Law Center puts it, they're using our own arguments against us, but it's a legal shell game. Capacity density isn't a fair measure of environmental impact. It's a distraction from the real issues. The stakes? A recent analysis by the American Clean Power Association found that 27 new procedural hurdles, like mandatory wildlife consultations, require Burgum's personal sign-off. This isn't just bureaucracy. It's a strategic slowdown. By forcing projects into interminable limbo, the DOI effectively starves them of funding and momentum. Josh Axelrod of the Natural Resources Defense Council calls it mind-boggling. Wind and solar projects don't compete with oil rigs for federal land. The DOI is comparing apples to oranges to justify blocking clean energy. And then there's the hypocrisy. While the DOI cracks down on renewables, it's fast-tracking offshore oil leases and reversing Biden-era protections for public lands and endangered species. Secretary Burgum cited concerns about migratory birds to cancel offshore wind zones, yet the administration plans to auction 30 offshore oil leases over 15 years. When asked about the lack of evidence linking wind turbines to whale deaths, a claim Trump has weaponized, experts point to the far greater threat of offshore drilling, seismic blasting, oil spills, and vessel strikes. The Deepwater Horizon disaster, still haunting the Gulf of Mexico 15 years later, is a grim reminder of what's at stake. So what's the endgame? Environmental law professor Alex Klass calls it political theater. The administration is propping up dying industries like coal while pretending to champion energy independence. The DOI's sudden obsession with conservation around renewables rings hollow when it's rolling back mining regulations and ignoring water scarcity in mining-heavy regions like Utah. As Klass notes, the Biden administration didn't ban oil and gas. They just tried to balance it with renewables. Now they're saying, we're not just not balancing, we're shutting it all down. Here's the burning question. Is this a legitimate effort to protect the environment, or a cynical power play to revive fossil fuels? The DOI's actions suggest the latter. By weaponizing environmental laws, the Trump administration is creating a paradox, using conservation as a shield to block the very solutions needed to address climate change. And this is the part that demands your voice. Do you think this strategy is justified? Or is it a dangerous misdirection? Share your thoughts in the comments. We're all in this together. But the rules of the game are being rewritten in real time.